Welcome to the WDW Reflections Podcast. Here, we'd love to talk about the Walt Disney World Resort, the way we remember it, how it's changed, and why we still enjoy visiting the most magical place on Earth. So come with us on a podcast journey as we reflect on the WDW Reflections Podcast. Hey y'all, welcome to the WDW Reflections Podcast, your unofficial guide through Disney World and all things Disney memories and their connections to the parks that we know and love today. I am Dewey, one of the hosts of the show. With me today are my podcast travel buddies. How you doing, Ron?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's good to be here. It feels like forever since I've had the opportunity to join you guys and talk Disney, so I'm excited. I know this is going to be a fun topic that we're going to be going down.
Gee, what's up, Tony?
Hey, good morning, guys. I'm still trying to recover from this weekend's announcements at D23. We were watching live streams all weekend. I was just talking to my wife this morning about that. I said, doesn't it feel like we were just at D23 all weekend, and aren't you exhausted from the plane flight?
As you may have guessed, what we would like to talk about in this episode is D23. This week, we just couldn't resist putting a show together to talk about what can only be characterized as huge announcements that came out of D23 this past weekend. Josh D'Amaro actually made it a point to say, these things are not blue sky. Everything we're announcing today are in active development. And he even said, Earth is already moving. So these are things that are, as far as Josh D'Amaro's concerned, these things are happening. The big one, I guess, so we're going to do it out of order. They saved the big one for the very last announcement of the night, but which probably has to be the most anticipated. And guys, do you guys remember we were talking about a villain's land way back when we were on Mouse House on the forums and stuff? I mean, this has
about
been
20 years ago.
Easily 20 years ago. This has been something that, you know, knuckleheads like us have been talking about for 2 decades at least. Believe it or not, at D23 just a couple days ago, they released concept art and said that this thing is happening. This is going to be what they're calling phase 2 of the Beyond Big Thunder Mountain. So this is not going to be the first thing built, but I just had to talk about it first just because it is epic. There's going to be a Disney Villains land in the Magic Kingdom. The concept art was, whether Josh D'Amaro admits it or not, it still looks blue sky. There's no real plans in this art. This is definitely just artwork that just shows like a scary castle and it's all gloomy and stuff. And I guess if you zoom in on it, you can see people walking, you know, teensy tiny little people walking around.
You might even see there's some trail of a coaster or something at the bottom too, if you look really closely.
You can see which it looks like it's purple and green, so it has to be a Maleficent style or inspired coaster, you know. But this is obviously in the early phases of planning and is in what they're calling phase 2 of Beyond Thunder Mountain. So it's not going to be the first thing built.
No, I think it's cool. I think that there's a fan base for the villains, and Disney does them well, and they don't get a lot of airtime at the parks. Maybe in a parade, maybe occasionally a meet and greet, but I think having a villains area is kind of a cool idea. So
Disney Parks says Villains Land is coming to Magic Kingdom with 2 major attractions, dining and shopping at Walt Disney World. So
wow.
That's at least what they're saying so far. Tony, like it, love it, hate it. What's up with Villains Land in the Magic Kingdom?
I think in the Magic Kingdom, it sounds like it should be a lot of fun. As you were mentioning, we've been talking about this kind of thing for many years. And if you gauge some of the other announcements that they made, they seem to be trying to reach a broad spectrum of of fans. So I think this is going to appeal to some of the older fans of Disney who've been waiting for this for a long time. But I think this kind of expansion is a good thing.
There's supposed to be kind of walkways that are going to be accessible between, on one side back by Thunder Mountain, you're going to be able to walk by Thunder Mountain and get to it. And on the other side, they're going to extend the walkway by the Haunted Mansion. So it kind of fits. You can kind of put this Villains Land as an extension of the spooky, scary stuff that's going on over there at the Haunted Mansion. As we're sitting here recording this, I just got a notification from the Disney Parks blog for new details revealed about the largest expansion at Magic Kingdom. And in this new announcement, to make way for this completely new frontier, the rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island will be transformed into vast and rugged terrains for a rally race with some of the world's most iconic racers. So, there you go. That's the answer. It's going to replace Tom Sawyer Island. So now I wonder if they'll take what is it called, the Liberty Bell or the riverboat? In the past that has been out in Seven Seas Lagoon. Maybe they'll send that back out there. But there you go. That area will no longer exist. Tom Sawyer's Island will be goodbye. So there's your answer for that.
And that's making way for the Cars attraction. Is that what you said?
Yes, for the whole expansion.
For the whole expansion. Okay.
It's going to be the new Frontierland part and the Villains Land eventually. As a part of this new Seeking Adventure in the West, what's also coming to Beyond Thunder Mountain is a new area inspired by Cars coming to Frontierland with 2 new attractions at Walt Disney World. Similar to Radiator Springs Racers out in California, but it's not going to be a clone of that attraction. This one is going to be, he said, bring your off-road tires. So it's going to be some sort of 4-wheel drive, dune buggy, off-road adventure style to the Radiator Springs Racers attraction, which is obviously using the same technology that Test Track uses. The 2 attractions, one's going to be the big e-ticket, I guess you could call it, and then the other one is for the little tykes. So it's going to be, my guess is going to be something similar, but with little cars or something. So maybe like a Tomorrowland Speedway or something like that.
I think there's going to be a lot of interest. I can even gauge that based on the most popular video on our channel is the video of the Cars attraction. Even though we may not be that interested in that, little kids love cars. And so I think that's going to be a natural fit for that area.
I think it'll be fun. Am I buying the new definition of what the frontier is? I don't know. I mean, Disney has proven to me, at least, in the last few years that they're holding on very tenuously to these themes, overarching themes, and they've shown that at Epcot. They're like, well, let's just throw in some water stuff and call it Moana. I mean, it doesn't matter. Really, it doesn't matter. They're just throwing IP in there. So at this point, my hope is that it's just fun, and I think it will be. I'm starting to let go of my grumpy old man wanting it to make sense and wanting Epcot to be what it was and Magic Kingdom should look like this. You got to let go of that because Disney has clearly said and demonstrated that's not their thing anymore.
To your point, Dewey, I think that sitting here, when you said Cars is 20 years old, which obviously it is, but I don't think of it as 20 years old. I don't. And you've got Nemo and you've got Cars and you've got, honestly, these are becoming the icons of Disney that Cinderella, the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, that used to be the icons, and so they have no choice but to appeal to their fan base.
I'm also glad that they're not going to necessarily clone the other ride. I kind of like it better where there's a ride that's based on the same subject matter in each of the different parks, but not exactly the same, because if it's going to be exactly the same, what's the purpose of going all the way out there to go see that?
Absolutely. So let's hop on over to Disney's Hollywood Studios. What's coming there, you ask? Well, Disney is loving these new lands. They're building lands. So coming to Disney's Hollywood Studios, a Monsters Incorporated land, including the first ever suspended coaster in a Disney park. And apparently that's what's coming. The Monsters Inc. You're going to be able to walk through the streets of Monstropolis, and you're going to go into the Laugh Factory or the Laugh Floor, whatever, I guess, and ride a suspended roller coaster through the where our good buddies Mike and Sully work. That sounds interesting. Concept art shows a gigantic building, and they didn't talk about the location of this. I don't know where it's going to be.
To me, it looks like the best place to put that would be the animation courtyard area. That leads right into Toy Story Land. You can keep that whole section of the park being Pixar related.
That would definitely be a good place for it. That makes a lot of sense to put it there. So Ron, you sort of remind me of Sully, so you're probably excited about this, right?
I am excited about this one. I've often thought that a roller coaster made after the Door warehouse would be an exciting, fun ride. So yeah, I'm really excited about this, and I'm just a Monsters Incorporated fan. So I think it'll be a fun place. There's a lot of things that I can think through that you could do with this. So exciting to me.
Again, they're appealing to a different era, because this Monsters Inc. is also 20-something years old.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was an announcement that in coexistence with the new Mandalorian and Grogu movie.
Oh, you're right.
Dave Filoni is adding some additional footage that's going to be used at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge for the Millennium Falcon run. And in that thing, there'll be a new movie in which Mando and Grogu will be involved. So, but we don't know. It sounded like that was more geared toward the Disneyland resort, but it could very well end up at both.
How about jumping over to Animal Kingdom now? And we've known for a while that they were saying goodbye to Dino Land USA and saying goodbye to the dinosaur attraction. But and I believe that we knew that there were going to be the Indiana Jones attraction there, and that there was going to be the Encanto attraction there. They, I guess, reiterated that. They did make it clear that the Indiana Jones attraction is not going to be a clone of the one we see in Disneyland, because as we know, it's the same ride vehicle, same track layout, all that kind of stuff. Dinosaur and the Indiana Jones attraction in Disneyland share those things. So it's good to know, Tony, kind of like you said about Radiator Springs Racers not getting just a clone. It's nice that we're not going to get a clone of the Indiana Jones attraction as well. And so that's going to be cool. And then they reiterated or restated that this will be the first attraction for the movie Encanto that is also going to be there. But I think what is new information is that they named the land. Before, they were referring to it as Tropical Americas, and that is no longer what they're referring to it. I guess it's still going to be a Tropical Americas section, but its actual name is going to be Pueblo Esperanza, and that is the land that's going to it replace Dinoland USA. It says that it will open in phases in around 2027. So that's pretty cool. And also, we knew that they were going to replace It's Tough to Be a Bug there in the theater beneath the Tree of Life. That attraction, we already knew it was going to be Zootopia, but now we have a name for the attraction, going to be called Zootopia Better Zoogether. And that's coming, it says, winter of 2025. So, fellas, what do you think about the announcements coming to Disney's Animal Kingdom?
Zootopia.
I like the Zootopia.
I'm glad they're putting something in. Did they say if it's going to be very similar or not to Bug's Life?
Says nothing.
Because if it was going to open this winter, it would probably just be a refurbishment and a new movie.
Very few details.
Yeah.
Very few details. What do you think, Tony?
Well, obviously, the one that I'm excited for would be the new Indiana Jones adventure. I'm glad that they are thinking of making it a slightly different story. And they mentioned in the show that it was going to be Indy at a Mayan temple in search of a mythical creature of some sort. And it crossed my mind that being where it's located, and Indy is an archaeologist, perhaps he's looking for a dinosaur. That way they could keep that as well. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know.
So that's the big stuff that they talked about. The only thing they said at Epcot was the opening of a Spaceship Earth lounge. The lounge is inspired by the stories, shapes, and enduring legacy of the park's timeless icon. It features geometric shapes inspired by the sphere. It will have rich textures and warm metallic tones for a mysterious, elegant, and intimate vibe. It's a zen space for families to gather and enjoy refreshments. And here it does say this is the former place of the Seaman's Lounge that was attached to Spaceship Earth. So that is the location. But interesting zen place for families to gather and enjoy refreshments. Ron, you going to enjoy some zen refreshments at the Spaceship Earth Lounge?
I mean, I'm like Tony. I'll go check it out once, but we don't lounge very much when we're in the park.
Yeah, the lounge is the Coke Station Zero. That's lounge for me.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's free. Ice Station Cool.
Right, there you go.
Beverly, drink Beverly.
My son loves Beverly. My son has a Beverly t-shirt that he wears whenever we go to Epcot. He freaking
that explains a lot.
But so Spaceship Earth Lounge. Okay, cool. I guess I'll go have a $37 cocktail there one time and then, go about my life. So that's that. One thing that we didn't talk about when we talked about Magic Kingdom that I do want to touch on real quick, and this has been a long time coming, my friends. There's finally going to be a new nighttime parade coming to the Magic Kingdom. This thing is called Disney's Starlight. It says we'll use the latest cutting-edge technology to tell new stories. The parade is brought to life by the magic of the Blue Fairy from Pinocchio and will feature characters from Peter Pan, Encanto, Frozen, and more. I'm excited. It's been a long time coming since we lost. They killed Jiminy Cricket's nighttime parade.
I hope that it's done as exceptional. I like the electric parade as well, but yeah, I look forward to. I think nobody does a parade like Disney. They just are, and they don't even have to throw candy to make you excited about it. So, no, it's that's going to be a good addition, and like you're saying, much needed and long awaited.
I'm not really a parade person. I usually just see them while I'm trying to run to the attractions while everybody's there. But at nighttime, I've actually enjoyed the electrical parade. That one I remember stopping to to specifically watch because I think it looks great. It's not as hot as it is during the day, so you can stand there and watch it, and you're pretty much done with everything by that point. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing something new at night.
And so I think that's it for Disney World. Do we want to talk about anything that they announced for Disneyland? There was a couple of cool things at Disneyland. Did we want to touch on that real quick?
I think the most important one would be the one that they are finally going to be adding somebody very important. Their quote unquote presence is going to be added to the park.
That is exactly what I was wanting to talk about. So it's really a pretty huge announcement. So Tony, you've been to Disneyland,
yes.
And I haven't. So why don't you lead that conversation?
Well, actually, you know what's interesting is when I was there, we couldn't wait to see Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. That's right as you enter the park. It's right sort of in the plaza area, and one of Walt Disney's signature attractions that he had, then he built, and he kind of based the entire park on the animatronics that he used in that ride, and that attraction, I should say. And it was down for a lot of the time that I was there, and then finally we got to see it, and it was spectacular. Interestingly enough, when you came out of it, when we went to go visit it last year, there was a whole section just outside of it dedicated to the history of Walt Disney. They had actual a replica of his office, sort of what you get at One Man's Dream, a replica of the office, a replica of designs, props, ride vehicles, sort of a history of it. And so it was kind of interesting that they would put that there. And there was some speculation that they've been wanting to include a Walt Disney animatronic at the park for the longest time. And so on Saturday, it was announced that a Walt Disney animatronic is coming to Disneyland Park in place of Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln in time for the park's 70th anniversary. And after the anniversary is over, they're going to go into a rotation where some days it'll be, or maybe at some showings it'll be Great Moments, and some showings will be this moment with Walt.
Two things. One, I'm picturing it being on a turntable, sort of like the scenes at Carousel of Progress.
Yeah.
You know, one time you'll see Abe Lincoln, one time you'll see Walt Disney. I don't know if that's what's going to happen. That's just what popped into my head when they said that both would be available. And then second, how do you feel weird at all that there's going to be an animatronic of Walt Disney? Is that weird? Or
not to me, because I mean it's just as weird as him putting Abraham Lincoln in there. I mean, I think if anything, I think he probably, in my estimation, I would think somebody like him would leave instructions as to what to do.
I'll be honest. The minute you said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, why don't we already have that?
Yeah.
With him creating animatronics and I think I'm shocked it's not going in both places, both Florida and Disneyland. I think that's what better honor for the guy that created the parks and had the foreknowledge to come up with everything that he did. But I'm a sentimental history type guy like that.
I don't know. And you're right. It shouldn't be weird because if you think about it, there's, Ellen DeGeneres, 40 something presidents, know, so they have animatronics of real people,
living people. Yeah.
And, Abe Lincoln was a real person, and, all the presidents
I think as long as they do that with respect and with care, it's not going to be as weird as it seems.
All right, fellas. So that was a great conversation. A lot of fun stuff coming to really all of the parks. And the most exciting part is, like I said in the beginning, this is not blue sky stuff. Josh D'Amaro said everything that he talked about in that parks panel at D23, everything was in active development and supposedly going to be built. So that's the most exciting part about all of these things. Thank you for reflecting on Walt Disney World memories with us on the WDW Reflections podcast. See you real soon.